Tasty Tuesday loves. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Just Talk to Me. Lavina, Poetic, Empress, coming at you with Black Butterfly. On this show, it's about always choosing to love yourself more. And tonight, we are gonna uh, tell you how some of the ways that we always choose to love ourselves more. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming in the building. Let me send my guest. We can get this party started. So yes, always choose to love yourself more. It's about us talking about and sharing all things pertaining to life, how we, you know, go through things or overcome things, and not even necessarily just going through things, just how we celebrate every day. But I can't deny the going through things because that's how this all got started. Hi, Brian. How are you? Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for joining tonight. Because this is exactly how this party got started. Because I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019 and had surgery, went through radiation treatments, and I started motivational speaking like 10 years prior to that and stopped. So after going all through that, it's like everything came full circle and God was like, let's go. So here I am. This is one of the platforms. The other one is Lavina Poetic Empress. A taste of Lavina Poetic Empress is the other platform that I have, and where I perform poetry and bring poets on that particular show. Okay, I'm not sure why. Pam, we sent you an invitation, sweetie. Wait a minute. I'll get this. That goes down. Okay. Pam, if you're in the building, I sent you an invite. Black Butterfly, I guess I should say. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Just Talk to Me. Lavina, Poetic, Empress, coming at you with the beautiful Black Butterfly. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good evening. I am fabulous. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. And you guys, I also have to tell you, this is my cousin. And it's something because we hung out for like how many years before we found out we were even
10,
cousins?
almost 10.
Yeah, we just recently found out that we were cousins. I'm like, oh my God. And it's hilarious because we always would go skating together. And the people at the skating rink would always call each other, like call me Pam or
Mm-hmm.
call Pam
Mm-hmm.
Vina.
Yep.
And it was hilariousness. And come to find out, we are related.
Exactly.
So I'm like, cousin.
Mwah. Love you.
But and then love you too, baby. And then that gift and talent, that talent, it runs in the family. Well, actually, everybody all over the world is gifted and talented. That's another reason why I do what I do, because I want people to know it's not just two or three people that, is gifted and talented. It is everyone. Um, so that's something people need to know. You can superstar in your own dreams and purpose in your life. This is just not cut out for a certain amount of people. I guess if you come from the perspective of people working for it, because it's a lot of work that goes into doing and being. And that's one of the things. Also, Pam, I want you to also share all the things you've accomplished
Okay.
since that traumatic experience, because you, my girl, have just, it's like that propelled you, honey, right off the ground into the air, and you've been flying ever since.
It did. It did. Well, first and foremost, I am so, so appreciative and honored yet again to join you and your platform. And for those that are out there that are listening, I'm just honored and so proud to rub elbows with family, someone who's so talented and giving and humble and always willing to help others and propel others and support others. She was supporting me, but she didn't realize. So I am the one that's humbled and grateful for the opportunity to be on your platform yet again to share my traumatic experience, but that I am not a victim. I am a survivor and I am a fighter. I am out of the issues that I went through. I am here to hopefully inspire and engage and enlighten someone to do whatever it is, not just particularly about writing poetry. It could be anything. It could be about starting your own business. It could be about starting a fitness routine. It could be anything. You just
Yeah.
need to start. You don't know what's going to happen until you do it. And I can say since 2010, since the incident, oh my goodness, it has been such an amazing ride. It's been a trying and challenging ride, but it has promoted me and forced me to grow in so many perspectives. I'm just so honored, but I have to always give my respect and my love to my two sons, who are the two reasons why I sit here today, because I will share with everyone my story of how my two young men, who were just little boys 10 years ago, made a 911 call that saved my life. So I am here today to say to my CJ and to my Michael, I call them my two guardian angels or my gems. I will
Mhm.
treasure you. And I have a poem that speaks to them, particularly about their bravery that night and going from little guys to unfortunately becoming men well before their time. And they still continue to be my guardian angels to this moment.
You are definitely, definitely welcome. Thank you. Thank you for
We
coming. Thank you for being open and open to share. Because some people, sometimes they're not so open to do so. Um, but when we share, we know we're not alone, and then we're inspired to come and be like, okay,
absolutely.
it's okay for me to open up and tell somebody.
And I
And
apologize,
that's where our healing comes from, also.
is buffering a little bit. So if
Yes,
you
you are
see a
buffering.
delay, it's because of that. So I apologize.
Mhm. But yeah, sharing also, it brings forth healing because we're releasing that stuff out of our spirit,
Yes,
you know. Um,
absolutely.
and not only that, you don't know who we can end up linking up with and go on to the next step, or being encouraged of what to do next, or things of that nature. And that's something else I want you to share. Um, how, because of all that you've been through, and then coming to this place, not only have you had promotions, but you're a poet. You found out some writing in you, and not only that, you also sit on a couple of boards
Yes.
and you help people. You go out and speak to people and things of that nature.
I
So let me stop talking, and you share some of the things with us.
Okay. So to those out there, I am Pam, but I'm also AKA the Black Butterfly. And the reason for that title is because I went through a metamorphosis about 10 years ago. I was trapped in my own home by my then husband, who had abused me. He became violent, and he broke a blood vessel behind my eye, leaving me temporarily blind for about 6 months or so. I still actually suffer with light sensitivity. I also suffered a full concussion, bruises about my back and my head and my face. I had a busted lip. I could no longer hear. All I could hear was just my boys screaming. So, out of that situation, I also heard a voice, and I know that that voice was God saying to me, Pam, you have work to do. I am taking you through this journey because this journey is not just for you. It is for your boys, but it's beyond you. There are people who need help, who you need to advocate for. You need to engage in any platform, whether it be in front of the General Assembly at Dover, at our Capitol, whether it be in front of CEOs, in front of judges, and the person on the street that I pass by that I see bruises on her or him, or when I was a caregiver and I would see bruises on seniors who did nothing but just exist, but their caregiver abused them. This message is for them. There is help. I decided to become an advocate. I was a very mild-mannered, actually shy. Yes, I'm a Gemini, but I was very shy. But that night, I went through a change. It was as though someone snapped in my ear, snapped a finger and said, "Wake up." I have been woke ever since. Out of the ashes of the old Pam came about a new, stronger, more empowered, more enlightened person. I am now fighting for the CJs and the Michaels that are out there who were brave enough to call 911 on their own father. They had to make a choice between safety of their mother or safety or inciting with their father and him doing something which is of course completely illegal. And of course, they decided to go with their mom. As we spent the night in the emergency room, I was so cold. I was hungry. This incident started at the skating rink, and I will be completely transparent now. It started at the skating rink. It was a normal evening. We would always go out to skating. At that time, it was out of state. We decided to go, and I did not know that he was under the influence of some sort of substance. I cannot speak to what he was subjecting himself to. All I can tell you is that he became a completely different person. He became enraged and he threw a punch at me in front of hundreds of people that night. So I voted, I need to get my boys to safety. So I left him there, not stranded, because there were friends, multiple friends there that were willing to give him a ride home. I left and I departed because I had to. My boys were completely terrified. They had never seen their father like that. So I had to make a decision between my safety and the boys and leaving him there so that he could go to his father's home to cool off. Only reason why that happened. Out of that situation now, it is 2022. This happened in 2010. I have sat on two boards. One is with the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and the other is with the Delaware Volunteer Legal Services, their Delaware State Bar Association's subcommittee, because no one knows what you're going through unless you say something. We live in silence, but that silence gives the predator power. As I spoke on your last platform, domestic violence in any circumstance is merely an exchange of power that the other party exerts over you. And it can be a financial power. For example, how can you deal without me? How can you pay the bills without me? What mother would not listen to that if they have children? Or why are you wearing that? That's not appropriate, and it could just be a t-shirt. Or why are you friends with that person? These are exertions of power. It's mind control. If I can isolate, I control you. Yes. Even including family. The same circumstance. I was disconnected from family, and they didn't even want to come around. Friends rarely came over. I was a
Mm.
completely different person when I was
And
around him.
can I add to that, being so I was around at that time?
Yes,
Because
yes,
I couldn't put my finger on it until it all when you said it, I was like, oh my God, that's why. Because he literally like would not let you come out and hang out. And I wasn't the type of person, and I'm not the type of person who was going to say, let's go hang out with these guys or anything. Now I'm like, let's go skate. It was always
yes,
skate, you know? So yeah, divide and conquer,
yes.
you know,
And it
that's what
worked.
that,
I was married to him for over 22 and a half years.
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I met him in my 20s. So I
Wow.
met him very young, and I was inexperienced. And I came from a very strict Christian Baptist family. I didn't have that many boyfriends prior to, because my parents wouldn't let me. They killed the guy dead.
Right.
Not literally, but they
I know what you mean.
they were just very strict. But I appreciate that, because they raised me to do the right thing and to be respectful. I'm not saying
Exactly.
I was perfect at all, wasn't perfect in any way, but I am saying that I try to do the right thing in every situation. And if I don't and I fall, that's called being human. But I always
Hmm.
put my kids first, especially because I could sense when he was angry, and it was
Hmm.
going to just turn into an argument, another form of control. If I
Right.
can avoid the argument, I've won. He's won. So if I always gave in, I gave him the control. And then, of
Hmm.
course, after the event, you heard all kinds of rumors at the skating rink from me, being, dating someone and not being faithful. I loved my husband. I loved the thought of being married. I loved it. I loved, the American dream, the middle class, working hard, and being a mom. And
And then you cook every Sunday.
I still do. I cook every Sunday. I mean, I'm a collard greens.
Every Sunday.
Our family's from the South,
Listen,
so
because I know I got some of that good food. So,
it
so yes, you were dedicated to your family
very,
and your husband,
yes.
you know, dedicated to the family unit, you know. Um, I think because people, they always want to make their assumptions,
Mhm.
but you knew, God knew, the boys knew, and your ex-husband knew
Yes.
what the deal was.
Yes.
Now, after going through that, um, bring us a little up to speed on like how did you end up going to school and getting your what did you go to school for? What did you get your degree in? What how did all of that come about from that?
Okay. So after court and property settlement and divorce, I decided, okay, I need to now do what I always wanted to continue my education. But he would always deter me and discourage me and say things like, oh, well, you can go online. So I decided, no, I need hands-on learning with a professor, one-on-one. I'm an adult. I am not a kid. I need that, and that's just it. So my major was legal studies, because I thought I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be an attorney, because I wanted to represent those men and women and or seniors that were encountering the abuse. But then I thought, that's the wrong side of things. I want to get into their head. In particular, I wanted my major to be dealing with the children, because the children were the unfortunately they were the victims that the law actually does not allow a child, in most states I can say, does not allow a child under the age of 12 to testify in court against anyone. They would have to go through a social worker, and they'd have to do a written statement or be interviewed separately. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, watching my kids go through the court-ordered therapy. It was trauma-based. We went through two types of therapy. We went through family therapy, and then they had their own one-on-one trauma-based therapy. And I could tell each time that they came out of those sessions, it was as though someone was, I don't want to say wiping away the pain, but they were targeting, truly targeting from a psychological perspective on their level what was happening, so that they understood what happened was not their fault, because children tend to internalize. They place the blame on themselves. You know, maybe if I didn't drop something, or if I didn't leave something out, or if I didn't leave the TV on, it wouldn't have sparked this argument. Adults are responsible for themselves and their actions. So they were the ones that had to make that call to save their mom's life. I was drifting, so that everyone understands, I couldn't hear anymore. And my right eye was completely closed shut. And because I had a concussion, it sounded as though I was in a fog, and you could be sitting right in front of me, but I couldn't hear you anymore. It was as though you were a million miles away. So with not being able to see and not being able to hear, I'm crawling on the floor. You need to understand, I was in a true emergency. So my degree was to target those children that don't have a voice in court. Because if I can perhaps touch the minds of the youth, that's our next generation. I'm not saying I'm a healer, but at least I can at least potentially help them resolve and understand and come to terms with what happens to you. It's not your fault. You have to take accountability for your actions. So I'm a psychology major with a minor. My minor is in trauma, but my goal is to be a child therapist. I am currently in school. I'm a trauma awareness trainer. I'm like a jack of all trades at work. I'm an executive secretary, but I'm also a trauma trainer. We have trained well over 5,000 staff members on how to recognize and respond to trauma, and not to re-trigger someone who is experiencing trauma. Who does trauma happen to? Every single person. Unless you're in a bubble, you've experienced some form of a tragedy in your life, and that's what trauma is.
That being in a bubble by yourself can bring trauma, because who wants to be by themselves? That's, you know what I mean? No.
So if anything does happen, you're not equipped emotionally to handle the circumstance. No,
Exactly.
I want to be fully aware if I'm being abused, so I know that's not behavior, or this is not a tone of voice. This is controlling. That isn't.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
All of those.
Yes, because so many times we can be mentally abused and not know it.
Exactly.
So most definitely.
And that's me.
That's why
my life for 22 years. I didn't realize that I was living what I am learning and I'm preaching about now. I had no idea. Like you said, you sensed something was not quite right. So did my family.
So, but he wouldn't let us in there. He wouldn't let nobody in. Like we can only come so far, and then it was like, oh, that's it. You can't. And then you wouldn't open up, completely. And how I found out, you was just on my spirit.
Yes.
One day, because I hadn't seen you, hadn't told you, and I was like, I'm going over here. And it happened. I came. I don't know if it was it wasn't. It was after it happened, but he had been stalking you because he had been there right before I came, and you had to call the police or something. Because when I pulled up, I believe a police car was out front.
Yes.
And that's when I found out everything that happened.
Yes.
So
there was.
I was like, oh my gosh, yeah.
A P
That was crazy. And you're,
is the paper,
yeah, because,
you know, the officers who enforce it.
yeah. So I'm just like, wow. That was literally out of a, oh, girl, let me stop because that's out of a movie.
It
You know what I mean?
felt like,
For me to meet, to know someone who went through, because you see stuff like that on television.
mhm,
You know, I didn't think that my own friend, who's, who's my cousin,
mhm,
would go through something, like that.
exactly.
So thank God
Yeah.
that, for God to move upon your heart and want you to help uh, people. You're willing to help, of course, grown-ups and men, women, whoever is being abused, but
Yes.
the children, like you said, they are the ones who are coming up is going to run this country
Yes.
tomorrow.
Exactly.
We need them surely in a
In a
right state of mind, in a peaceful,
exactly,
healed mind,
exactly. That's
because
it.
when you dealing with, because running a country, people don't know, you're not just dealing with United States of America. You
Exactly.
got to interact with other people. And
Multiple
that's what people don't
cultures.
understand.
Exactly.
Interacting with others is important on how we
Exactly.
deal and how we talk, our tone,
Hmm.
our intentions,
Exactly.
you know.
We call it in the training world cultural competency. And really all cultural competency is being respectful of others' cultures and to not be judgmental of others.
Right.
That's really all it means. And it just says acceptance. I accept you where you are. I was
Hmm.
raised like that. Anyway, that's just in our blood. It's about
Hmm.
acceptance. It is about self-love, but it's also about acceptance of others and being supportive and non-judgmental because they are
Exactly.
the expert of their environment. So who else can tell you about their culture than they can?
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that across the board is needed, us being respectful of each other. And
Yes,
like I said, it starts with self.
it does.
Because if we respect ourselves,
Hmm.
it gets like I is always choosing to love ourselves more, we'll treat people the way we treat ourselves.
Exactly.
But if we're not respecting ourselves and things of that nature, we're not gonna respect.
Exactly.
And it's something because sometimes I know when I could say certain things to young people, I look at people's body language, whether it's young people or not, but looking at someone's body language can tell you a lot.
Hmm.
How people are dressed, should you approach them or not?
Yes.
You know, sometimes if I'm out and about, because I like to talk to people and or whatever, and if I smile at someone and they don't respond, like their face is still, I'm like, okay, I just keep it moving
Ex-
because I don't know what they've been through. I don't know what they've experienced,
right. Exactly.
and I don't want to push them, or say you can't speak that. It's
Right.
not about that,
Right. Because
you know.
some cultures, for example, women are submissive. So
Hmm.
respectability is one of the six principles that we teach in being trauma informed and to tread respectfully.
Hmm.
If a person does not acknowledge, usually you'll get the nod or the blink and the follow up with a smile or a comment. That goes back to my childhood and our upbringing. If a person does not do one of those things, I don't ever approach them again. That could
Hmm.
just be that's their upbringing. But, I respect and I respond accordingly. And I'm a very quick learner and I'm a quick study. If I
Hmm.
see that, you're not engaged and you don't want to, and, that goes back to being a domestic violence survivor. You can feel the tense, the
Hmm.
tension in the room. As soon as you walk in, you can feel it. When I train classes, you can get a sense for who's going to be the most observant in the class and those who are going to be less engaged. And guess what? Pam focuses on the ones who are less engaged by, having more eye contact and asking questions after I make a statement. I follow up with a question. Sometimes some people just need a little bit more patience than others. and a little bit more understanding. So again, it goes back to that respectability and just meeting people where they are, but being
Exactly.
respectful and nice about it.
Yes.
We forgot
Yes.
that somewhere along the line in America. We forgot to be respectful of one another's differences and to appreciate that that's a good thing. That's what uniqueness is. And you talk about that,
Hmm.
always choose to love yourself, always choose
Hmm.
to be unique. Why would I want to
Yeah.
be just like the next person?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
That's a cookie cutter environment. I don't want to be just like someone else.
Mhm.
I want to
Mhm.
be like Pam. I want to be
Exactly.
I want to, put forth my charms and my intellects and all of that. So you appreciate me for me,
Exactly.
you know?
Yes. I totally agree with that.
Yes.
And that is my, uh, I don't know, I've always been like that since I was a little girl. I've always had my own style and thought pattern and things of that nature.
Me too.
Um, and it's something how I look at myself now. And the other day I seen one of my pictures when I was like, I might have been maybe 5 or 6, um, possibly even 7. I think maybe 6, but I had my hand on my hip and
To
leaned.
see
I was like, oh my God, Lavina, Poetic Empress has always been in there.
there, there she is. Yes.
I was like, she's always been there. She was just,
She's
I had to mature into myself.
too funny.
So yes, it's something, and this is needed too. Laughing and smiling, and
Oh my
it can't. We wasn't put here to always go through traumatic situations or
yes.
drama and fighting
Hmm.
and hate. And I'm like, no, we wasn't put here for that.
It ate.
You know,
Did you know that? That
huh?
constant stress on the body biologically ages the body. Because when you respond to stress, the first thing you do, first of all, is you frown. It then sends your pressure up. You release
Hmm.
endorphins, not the good ones, not the good chemicals, but you
Hmm.
release the endorphins that are what they call for fight or flight. Who wants to live in that state all the time where you got to always feel as though I'm on guard and I'm upset? I cannot live in that state. So if that means that Pamela, aka Black Butterfly, is single, or she's just dating some, then that so be it, because my peace of mind is like $1 million to me. I promise you, I will not trade it again.
I know that's
I
right.
will not trade it again, because once I got it back, I almost did a jig in front
Honey,
of my house.
look, you like,
I was like,
oh,
hey, wait,
not my piece,
hello.
not my piece.
No, I will not. And this is to male or female. If you're dating someone, again, the tone of this platform is always choose to love yourself. So I'm going to send that positivity out. Always choose to be in an environment where you feel supported and nurtured and feel special. If that
Mhm.
person does not make you feel special and valued and appreciated, you need to reevaluate things. I'm not saying go out and get a divorce. What I am saying
Yeah.
is it could start with you just communicating with that person that, maybe this and this and this doesn't make me
Oh,
feel
wait a
valued.
minute.
It starts with just a
Somebody left
conversation.
a message. Somebody put something on the screen. Let me read what they said.
Okay.
You guys know I got to put the readers on so I can see okay. Hello, hello, true CEO1. Thank you for joining. Hello,
Bruce.
lady. I wanted to say that I admire your courage in discussing the
Hi,
topics
Bruce. Thank
that
you.
are so important for our communities. Thank you so much. And these topics are important because it's going on and it's been going on and no one is saying anything. So
Exactly.
that's how we get healed from it. Well, that's how we get free and how we
Exactly.
get healed from it,
Right. And
and
Vina,
this is, and I'm gonna tell you something else
mhm.
we pray for also. that the people that are doing the abusing gets help,
Yes.
because they're hurting people because they're hurt, you
Yes.
know.
Exactly.
So that also needs to occur, that
Yes.
they need to, you know, be healed. So
Exactly.
my heart also and prayers go out to them to be healed and
Yes.
whatnot, because for you to want to beat on someone, something's going on inside you,
Exactly.
and you're taking it out on
Hmm.
those people you're abusing.
Because
Yeah.
violence is not the problem solving skill. That is
Mm-mm.
something that you've you've learned, you've observed it, and it has become the norm as your problem solver. But
Mm-hmm.
if your love hurts, that's not love. And I also want to, my disclaimer, I always have to say this. I said this on your last show, that this statement and all of the statements that I have shared, my story, is in no way of defamation to
Mm-mm.
his character or anyone else that was involved that night and moving forward. Also, this is not a male bashing discussion,
Oh
excuse
no,
me.
'cause we,
This
we
is,
we left the men, honey.
yes, this is about anyone
Mm.
who's dealing with someone exerting negative control, either it be financially, physically, or emotionally. Either of those
Mm.
three, it hurts
Yes,
and it's unhealthy.
yes, yes.
So I don't know why, for some reason I feel like, I think because I can see some of the names that are showing, and they are affiliated with him, and I am no way, again, I'm going to say this is not defamation of character. This is my story, and this is from
Mhm.
my perspective of
You know
what took
what?
place.
And also, this was someone you loved. You know what I mean? So, in all the stuff that I have, because I've been married 3 times, and I've also been in a long-term like relationship, and through all the ups and downs and some of the stuff, the hurts and pains I've suffered, I thank God for what I learned, and I thank God for them, because at one point it was good.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And not only that, you got two beautiful sons.
Oh my
And
goodness.
you
Love them.
know, and I believe one day a complete healing. When I say complete healing, I'm talking about healing where not we all got get back together. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about. I'm talking about a complete healing where um, he's at a place where he can apologize.
He actually already did.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, I
And
actually videoed it. Because I couldn't believe it was happening, and it had to take 10
right.
years. But it
Hmm.
was just a luck of the draw that we happened to be out at a location at a store, and we ran into him. And it
Hmm.
was, I won't say he said the words, I'm sorry, it was his version of an apology. So I'll
You
just
know,
leave it
see, you
there.
know him,
So
but
I
you
know
know
him,
him.
but I knew through what he was trying to say, he was trying to
Hmm.
put forth his admission of what took place, and he was trying to move forward because he's now trying to reestablish and has actively been trying to reestablish a relationship with his our sons. That
And that's
has
where
been
I was
my
going.
prayer. Yes,
Yes,
my
that's
prayer
where I
for the
was going.
past.
What I'm saying, them boys,
Yes,
because the young men need their dads.
yes,
Period.
African
Because I'm
American
gonna tell
male.
you, I am not a dad to my son. I'm not a father to him. I am a
Exactly,
mother.
exactly. I am not a dad.
I'm a mother.
Not
You
can be. I
know,
cannot be a man to them. I can only
mm-mm.
raise
And
them to
honey, I don't
be
want
human beings.
to look. I'm like, I so enjoy being a girl. So I enjoy being a woman.
Exactly.
But yeah, the boys they need in the girls. Even if you had a daughter, you know, we just need our families,
Yes.
you know, together. And when I say together, it's not like I said, it's not about y'all getting back together,
Hmm.
but it's about everybody being able to be in one space
Yeah.
if need be.
Yes.
You know, it's about if he was to, you know, have more children,
Hmm.
they would. Oh, because your sons are super fabulous. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I would,
I,
they need to know their big brothers.
I love the heck out of those.
So,
There,
so yes, it's just all about unity.
it is.
That's where it is. It is. It's
Our,
all about us
our
uniting
people, but
because it takes a village.
yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
Because I know all of y'all participated with brand.
sure did. I mean,
Everybody,
we all,
because at that time I had the shop and
yeah,
stuff. So all of you guys,
exactly.
you know. So I'm like, thank you.
That's
No.
right. Family, it's funny. We didn't even but see, that's just my upbringing, and that's just how much love I have. So much, I gotta love enough 50 people. I love
Girl.
always that. My mom was a Sunday school teacher, so I learned firsthand about the joy of nurturing and watching those little seeds, those little people grow up
Mhm.
into productive, intelligent human beings and having
Mhm.
families. So I was like, I'm going to be a big girl. I'm going to have my own family one day. So, I was devastated when it happened, but I had to turn it around and I had to make something positive of it. And so it started
Mhm.
with me. So my parents
Yeah.
taught all of us that with every action there is a reaction. So what was your reaction going to be? So unfortunately, my mom passed away before this circumstance took place. But I could
Mhm.
hear my mom's voice saying, okay, baby girl, you've been presented with this problem. How are you going to resolve it? How are you going to move forward? What are you going to do about the boys? The boys need you now. So I just dug deep. The real shy Pam was gone. And I don't know, it was like I said, I evolved and here I am now and I'm speaking. So June 8th, I'll be speaking down again at Legislative Hall, talking to
Mhm.
those policymakers who make decisions about organizations such as People's Place, um, Jewish Family Services, and there's like a whole list of nonprofit organizations that receive federal funding that are subject
Mhm.
to cut.
Right.
And I mean millions. So if this happens, a lot of the domestic violence programs and supportive services are going to go away. So what
Wow.
do you say to the predator? Yes, you are a predator. If you prey on a woman and children, if you hurt purposely, you are a predator. Even if it is emotional, it is
Mhm.
still wrong. These organizations are fighting. And because of COVID, supportive services are being directed to health and, vaccines and research and such. But there are
Wow.
people being abused. There are people who are abusing each other. Children that were home, remote access, were beating each other.
Mm.
Couples. Oh my goodness, just in the state of Delaware, the statistics went up 50% for domestic violence cases. 50%. So that's basically half of Delaware, households, someone in some way, whether it be child on child or spouse on spouse or intimate partner to intimate partner. That is
Wow.
just horrific. And out of some of the
Girl.
circumstances, these people did not live. They don't report
Wow.
they don't report it because, folks don't want their name in the paper. So they go, unnamed and they become a Jane Doe. So on June 8th, I will be at Legislative Hall talking to those who make those decisions about potential funding cutting. They cannot. Those
Wow.
organizations helped me and my boys get through
Yeah.
because it was court ordered. So I had no choice. I had to take my boys, our boys, to
Right.
therapy every week. Every week. If I was sick, I had to go. If I was
Right.
tired, I had to go. If they were sick, unless they've had, something like a cold, but if they weren't feeling good, they just had they still had to go because it was court ordered. I would have been held in contempt. It is necessary that immediately after the trauma takes place, that there is a healing.
Yes.
The mind has
Because of,
the way,
ooh,
a mechanism of burrowing and sort of like camouflaging pain. And until you
mhm,
re-experience the trauma again, you've buried it and you don't even remember. Which is why when I
mhm,
went through all of these classes, I learned about me because I was like, oh
mhm.
my God, that happened to me, or this happened. And it would re-trigger me. And I would literally sit there in class and almost have a meltdown.
Hmm. I know exactly what you mean because I was triggered last week with one of my guests that was on the show, and I
I
was like, "Oh
remember.
my God!" I was like, "Am I really sitting here correct?"
Yes,
But healing came,
exactly.
cleansing, you know what I
It,
mean? And I got
good word.
to understand some things
Exactly.
about myself,
Exactly.
you know. So that's why I'm like, thank you for coming on this platform because we don't, know what sometimes, like you said, what's in us, it needs to come up to the surface,
Yes,
and so God can have us release it so we can
exactly.
heal. You
Well, I
know.
want to say to those that are listening that if you are in a situation where you feel helpless and you just need advice, even just to recognize whether it really is truly that you're just having a once in a while thing, but any form of domestic violence, again, whether it be emotional or physical, a shove, it starts with the verbal and then it graduates. You need to just understand what you're going through so you empower yourself to stop it. So I'm asking and I'm encouraging, if you feel as though you are experiencing that, you need to seek help. I do have multiple resources and I'm happy to provide anything from the National Crisis Hotline to local services that are available here in the States. So reach out to me at Pamela G74 at gmail.com. That is my personal Gmail account. I am very responsive. I check it constantly. I mentor so many in the community because I'm a part of these platforms of the domestic violence committees. So my name has spread out there. So I am available and I am happy to offer any support and mentoring that's needed. So hit me up if you need me.
Yes. Now, Black Butterfly,
Yes.
you promised us a poem.
I did. Okay, I'm gonna put my grandma
Yes, you
glasses
did.
on because I can't find. I left my real glasses at work.
You,
So
girl,
don't
listen.
y'all
I'm
laugh.
I'm great. Tell you, you
Don't.
gotta you gotta get yourself a pair of fly little readers, honey.
I know they look like grandma.
Oh, you look like a school teacher. You look cute. You look beautiful still.
I hope so because I feel like I just aged like 20 years putting these things on.
Oh, you de-age. You de-age.
Thank you because I need it. Okay,
De-age. De-age.
so I promised that I would read this poem. So this poem is the very, very first poem that I wrote days after the incident. And I want to put you guys in my frame of mind. I could only see out of one eye. I was battered all over, chest, back, face, busted lip, pain in my jaw. And something said, get your pencil and paper out. And when I did, this is what I wrote. It's entitled One Day in an Instant. One day in an instant, my life suddenly changed from the happier times of yesterday to the unforeseen images of tomorrow. I stand and say, in an instant. As the tears fall, I say, gone are the days of yesterday. One day in an instant. One day my life began as it has any other day, but ended yet so differently than any other day. Not just any old day, but one day yet never to be forgotten. Goodbye to tomorrow and hello to another day. Oh, sweet divine new times and goodbye to old times. I welcome a new rose to smell today and crush the old rose that fell to scorn me. The lovely smell of new times and the burnt smell of yesterday simply burns my nostrils. The fond times yet gone, but I long for the new times ahead. I have been blessed with two treasures. Yes, my two treasures. Yes, my two treasures. My treasures to treasure for eternity. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you for
so much for
sharing this
having me.
beautiful poem. And it's amazing. Like you said, sometimes people, when they're in a dark place, but that's where the treasure chest is open.
Yes,
That's where our gifts and talents and purpose
exactly.
comes forth. That's where we find who we are.
Yeah.
And that's not saying, oh, you know,
Hmm.
that kind of experience, but it's like when we are not responsive to God or we don't know, that's where those things are where they're revealed. Because now our attention is, I need to release. And those things, those gifts and talents, it's not, it's yes, it's a release for
Yes.
us, but it's also for us to help others,
Yes.
and to encourage others and build others and educate others and things of that
Yes.
nature. So
What I
with
always,
all of that, I'm
sorry.
thankful, that the that poetry, that writing,
Hmm.
came about, that you're an advocate also
Yes,
for those who don't have a voice, that you
that's
are
right.
their voice.
That's right.
So that is a
I just
blessing.
wanted to say that I found the new Pam that night and I lost the old one, but I got a new one. So she's the stronger one that you see before you. So
That's
that's why
awesome.
I'm now the black butterfly.
True CEO said, wow, Pam, such courage, such insight. What a heartfelt testimony. And Alex 009 said, hello, Auntie.
Oh, I don't, who's that? I see, I can't see the message
You
on,
get
I don't know who, I don't know people by their profile. So whomever that
right.
is, I love you and thank you so much for joining and supporting
Yes,
me.
thank
And
you
to
for everything.
everyone, thank you for
Yeah,
listening to my story. I only
yeah,
want to empower. This is not to defame or any way in any way. So I just have to keep saying that.
yes, yes. It's okay. It's okay. One thing you cannot do is feel bad for sharing your testimony, because it's going to help someone else. Just like one day, he's going to go out and share his testimony and tell men, do not do that.
Yes.
You
That's what I
understand? And it's
pray.
going to help. It's going to
Yes.
help people.
I pray.
So that's what it is. First of all, if you were out to defame him or bring shame to him, you would have been saying his name, your whole attitude.
No, no, I would
That's
never
not
do
what this
that.
is here for.
Mm-mm.
Exactly.
I would
So,
never do that. That's not what this is about.
exactly. And not only that, your boys are going to see this one day, the video.
Exactly.
So, what is that going to speak to them? That's not our goal.
Exactly.
Our goal is
I
to
don't live in
build
that place.
is to build and to push and to encourage and
Absolutely.
to lift up, and to let people know, like you said, out of the ashes comes beauty. Out of
Exactly.
the ashes comes
Strength.
wisdom,
Yes.
knowledge, and
Yes.
gifts, and talent
Exactly.
comes life, greater life,
That's right.
greater possibilities, you
Exactly.
know.
That's all. That's
So
all I've ever
that's
wanted.
what I'm here for. I'm gonna tell you, if I could just heal and help and give to everybody, God knows.
Me too. Me too.
You know
If
what
I
I
could,
mean? It's just because
yes,
I don't like people hurting.
me either.
Um, so that's what it's about. It's about people
Yeah.
healing.
I don't want maybe the friends and relatives that are on here. in any way to misconstrue what this
It's
statement
about
is and what this platform is and why I'm sharing this story. This is in no way, again, for me to get some notoriety. Why would I want notoriety in this respect? This is about beyond me and beyond you. This is about potentially saving someone's life, whether it be them emotionally having emotional freedom or
yeah,
financial freedom to just
because
exist.
I seen something, oh goodness, online where they said if a woman had a red dot in her hand, she was being abused. She did like that. That was a sign that she was being abused or something.
Wow.
So yeah, we always want to be aware. And I seen a um a hand with red paint. I think it was red paint through it or red paint on the mouth where they
Yes.
wasn't on the Indian
Yes.
reservation where
hmm
they're like they're not being quiet anymore because
Exactly.
they're going up there and killing the young women and raping them and things of that nature.
Exactly.
So it's not about people being fictitious or anything. It's about people getting people help because
Exactly.
we gotta help each other.
Exactly.
That's it. It's just about being unified and helping each other
Exactly. That's
to
all this is about.
get help,
Educating.
for both
Exactly.
parties, not just for one party,
Yes.
not just the person that got abused,
Exactly.
but for the abuser, because there is a reason you're doing this.
Exactly. And it started
Something
somewhere.
happened to you too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the
So,
knowledge of both parties being empowered to take the baton and it's their turn to pass it. I
yes.
can't hold
Yes.
on to this information. I can't hold
Mhm.
on to this experience.
Girl, I'm
It
going to
is
tell you something.
unfair. It is
If
unfair to the
you,
next generation.
yeah, I'm going to tell you something. You could try, but guess what? Eventually, it's got to come out because I told you. Now it's been before 2019, before I was diagnosed with breast cancer, up until that, I was 10 years before that, I started doing motivational speaking. And
Okay.
because one person showed up at my third event, I stopped. I was like, oh, that's not what God has for me. Honey, and when I tell you, I knew I was supposed to do it but I just refused to. I kept running from God,
hmm
denying it. God was like, okay, I got something for you, Tail. He didn't give me breast cancer, but he said I could use this right
Right.
here
hmm
so she could see she needs to get this ball rolling again.
That's right.
And what happened was the doctor who did the diagnosis, well, who did the biopsy and gave me, and came back and told me about the diagnosis.
hmm
He asked me when he found because during the diagnosis he was asking me to distract me from what he was doing. He asked me what did I do. I was like, all right, poetry, poor spoken word. Girl, by the time the whole thing was over, he done went online, purchased a book,
Oh,
and he asked me when I was ready if I could do a poem. And when after I recited the poem, so I think after my after the surgery, no, I recited the poem for him, and he said after I went through the whole process because I had to have surgery, I had to go through radiation treatments, if I could come and speak at their breast cancer awareness kickoff. And I
nice.
went to that event, and soon as I finished speaking, it's like God took my whole life. I
Yes.
was brought full circle. And I said, okay, God, I'll start, doing
That's
motivation
amazing.
speaking. I'll do the poetry events. And this is how all of this has come to pass. Because
And oh,
I started writing poetry because I got my feelings hurt. I was emotionally hurt by God. And not that he got up and said, oh, I'm going to hurt you. No, it wasn't like that. He just didn't, after all that we had been through, he just didn't want to be committed, and that hurt my feelings.
sure.
And I was like, I'm going to cuss him out. Right. When I finished writing, I was like, I'm going to cuss out. It was actually something beautiful.
Right.
So that's how I got on my poetic journey, and Um, I didn't, I just, like I said, I didn't even realize it was a poem. And God said, learn it and learn to speak it. That was in 2015 through 2016. Yeah, I learned to speak. 2017, I hit my first open mic, and
Wow.
it's been on and popping ever since.
And you are
So,
fabulous.
oh, thank you.
You are,
Grace and mercy.
well, I am just in awe of your strength. So it's time to give you your flowers. How strong you have been, and you did this in silence. But again, the same exact circumstance, different particulars, but similar circumstance of a test of endurance and strength and power. And it's mind control, faith, it's all of that. It's science, it's all of that mixed together. But it comes down to I am a fighter. So I commend you for being that strong warrior. And now look at you. You are empowering folks like me. And, I shadow you because I want to be like you. I want to be able to cite my poems verbatim from memory. That is difficult, and you do it with such emphasis and power and control. So I want to be like you in that respect, that I can just take a little bit of that talent that you have an abundance of and share my poems.
I'm going to tell you, the way you do it is repetition. I practice, practice, practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And if you just decide, you know what, I don't care if you just practice one poem a day, and then even stuttering through it, just keep practicing and practicing. It'll just eventually, what I do is I practice, 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 practice. And when I can do it 5 times in a row
yeah.
without messing up, I'm like, okay, that poem is got. I
Okay.
got that one. Next one. And sometimes I'll work on two at a time.
Hmm.
Um, so, but I'm telling you, it's practice, practice, practice. You
Okay.
know, um, and it's going to come because you have the heart for it, and the fact that you have that desire that you want to recite it, you want to speak it.
Right.
Like I said, once you make up in your mind, once a day, I'm gonna practice this one poem, and start off with a short poem. Start off with a saying, because that little saying I say, I'm hot like fire, is smooth as silk, sweet
Oh.
like honeydew, and when it drips, it drips. Lavina, poetic, Empress.
Oh,
Lavina, poetic, Empress. I'm coming at you. So just start off with something short,
okay.
and then just build. Start off with 2 lines. Samoset learned 2 lines of that poem that you just read to us.
Okay.
I'm telling you. And before you know it, you're going to be reciting the whole poem.
Okay. I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
ask God to give you
study.
ask God to give you the rhythm of it.
Okay.
You can hear the rhythm of it. Because all of your poems, they're alive, honey. They're alive and they're different. They all
Right.
have a story to tell. You know,
Okay.
they all have a story to tell. So, but thank you again so much. I
I
love you.
love you
God
too.
bless you.
You.
You're
I'm
welcome.
humble. I appreciate everything. And thanks for, I just want to say thank you for pressing forward, for keeping this culture alive.